Hello and welcome back to our video series on SMF. Now in this video we're going to be covering the permissions of our SMF software. So if we scroll down here into the members area and click on permissions, there's really not a whole lot here beyond just showing you where the stuff's at, because the permissions by board is pretty much the same as it is by the boards here. If we just go ahead and click on this real quick, I'll show you. So you can see here we've got four options here. The ones that are highlighted are the ones that are allowed. We just click on normal, then it goes from reply only to normal. And if we say, for example, check traffic generation read only, see how it changes. Now if we go back to our boards here, you see the traffic generation is read only that we just changed here. We go to the boards and modify the traffic generation, and we'll see that it is noted as read only. So you've got the four choices here or the four choices under permissions. Either way, if you set them here, then they're already set for you. So go back to normal, click on modify, and then we go back to the setting board permissions here. For traffic, it's back to normal. So we can see this is pretty much the same as the board permissions here. Now if we were to get into the 2.0, it gets a little bit different and a little more, well, it gives you more of an ability to drill deeper into the settings of permissions for your boards. So if we head over to the members and permissions, you can see here we even have an additional option here, edit profiles, whereas here we under permissions, we only have these three, the settings, board, and member group permissions. And here we have, stay here, we got those three and the edit profiles. But what I wanted to show you though was if we go here and click on board permissions, so you see the look is a little bit different, but if we were to go to default, this is the permission profile for default. So we can actually, it's moved us into the profiles of the different types of members or member groups and the permissions allotted per that group, which are all default. So you can actually change, you can assign the permissions for the default depending upon who you are or what member group you belong to when you go to that particular board. So with the 2.0 version of SMF, you are able to assign a little more definitively the permissions for your boards. That's really the only difference between the 2.0 and the 1.1.7 or 1.8 SMF. Now if we head on back here to the 1.1.7 and permissions by member group, come on down here and you see we've got the member groups that are already created, the guests, and the number of permissions that are currently, out of all of them that are listed, those that are currently assigned. And the types of permissions are the same in all of these groups, but of those, only 4 of those are assigned to the guest, 35 of those are assigned to regular members, all of them are assigned to administrator, and so on. So let's take a look here at the guests, and you'll be able to see what I'm talking about real quick. Like you see, here's a list of all of the permissions here, the general permissions for the guests, and these 3 are checked, and this 1 is checked for the global permissions for the boards, and that's the 4 for the guests. You see, guests are really limited. It kind of prompts them, hopefully, to register with the forum. And of course you can adjust this. That's where these tick marks or these check boxes come in at. If you want to make the guest feel a little more not necessarily needing to register, if you will, then you can assign more permissions for that particular profile, that of the guest. And then of course, like everything else, any changes you make, come on down here and click on Save Changes. And likewise, if we were to check out those of the administrator, which is pretty much everything, Well, it doesn't even allow you to modify because it's everything. But the global moderator, which is the next in line as far as hierarchy, you see they've got a bunch of them, actually most all of them that are checked. And you can come in here and you can assign those, you can change those. Just as anything else, any changes you make, be sure to click on Save Changes, otherwise they won't take effect. And these settings, this is pretty much like the settings here and the board settings and editing profiles on the 2.0. These items are a little bit beyond the scope of this video series because they go beyond the basic settings of your SMF. So I mainly wanted to, in this permissions video, I mainly wanted to point out to you where you can go to adjust, if you need to adjust beyond the default settings of the permissions for these particular member groups. And that's going to bring us to the end of this video on permissions. Hope you learned something. Thank you very much for watching and have a great day.